Hey everyone, how are you doing today? Today I'm in a beach. It's called McNears Beach, and it's in San Rafael. And it used to be a private beach where you pay a fee to come into, and they had a swimming pool and everything. But somewhere along the way it became a state park or a state-run beach, and now it's free to get in. And I just thought we'd walk around and take a look. I've been here a few times, but it's been a long time. I also just wanted to mention real quick that Ace Frehley from Kiss passed away last week. And I was never a huge Kiss fan, but growing up, I remember listening to the Kiss Alive 2 and Kiss Alive 1 albums, and being blown away by all the theatrics and the blood and the flames. And I do understand the impact that he had on the world as far as people looking up to him and wanting to be a rock star. So Ace Frehley, rest in peace. You were a legend of your own time and motivated many people to become rock stars. Many guitar players to pick up the axe and learn to play. And yeah, you'll be missed. We're losing rock stars left and right. Ozzy Osbourne died, and now Ace Frehley. All the music that I grew up with, a lot of those guys are going to be gone. You know, Jimmy Page is still around, but you know, 10 years from now, who knows? Anyway, let's go check out McNears Beach, see what it's all about. So I'm noticing right away they got palm trees everywhere, which makes me think at one point this was some kind of military facility, because the military had a habit of planting palm trees all over the place. So that's a possibility. And I also am seeing some frisbee golf catcher over there. And I'm just walking around taking a look. I'm gonna walk over here as far as I can, but it looks like there's some kind of dock, but I don't think it looks like it might be a closed off. See what that's about. So there's a nice pier there you can fish out on, and there's some kind of I think there's a over in this area there used to be a brick factory, so this might be part of it. I'm hearing some noises. You know, I'm having deja vu that I may have been here. Forgot, because I don't know, there's a lot of these parks look the same. They all have palm trees, they have a pier. I know I went to one like this over in Martinez, but this whole end part that I'm walking to looks familiar. Anyway, we'll go check it out. Look how the moss in the sunlight is glistening moss. And this is all private property, so it doesn't really tell you what exactly is over there, but it does look like some kind of old industrial type dock. So we're gonna walk over to the pier, take a look around there, and see what we can discover. There's a big old buoy there, a big metal one floating. It looks like a nice place you can come and have a picnic in the summer, or a party. And the interesting thing is, Like I think I said before, it's totally free, and if you drive along the road that this is on, all the other places to go, like China Camp and stuff, they all charge a fee. This place doesn't. That's kind of nice. Got really nice lawn here. This place is well kept up. Definitely would be a great place to come and on a nice summer day. They got barbecue pits here, nice pass, some water fountains. Check this out, they even have a receptacle for hot coals so you don't potentially start a fire. Wow, it's a place to catch sturgeon. There's a shark and some big sturgeon. You can hear the freight trains in the background. So over there is the Richmond oil refineries in Richmond. Got some people out here fishing. And it looks like you can probably swim in here, but you see the little white buoys out there. That's usually for swimmers. Pretty quiet day here. Got a guy down here in the corner. He's got a couple lines in, some crab nets. And they even have a place you can put your hooks. People don't step on them. Kind of a lot going on over here. People throwing lucky quarters. But that, you see that industrial area that I was close to looking at, looks like it had a conveyor belt that would load ships up with that conveyor belt. There's some kind of tugboat going over there. You can actually see both bridges if you look close, the Richmond Santa Fe Bridge and the Bay Bridge behind it. We're at that angle. And you got some really nice houses up here. These are relatively new. I used to come up here in the 80s in my car. It was a great place to come and see the city lights, and there was a hill beyond those houses that you could park your car on and see a whole view. None of these houses were here back then, so these houses are at least, 20-30 years old only. All these fishing poles have bells on them now. Used to be you'd put a bob on your line and watch the bob. Now you can just listen for the bell. I got a funny story about parking up on that hills before these houses were built. It's now called Peacock Gap, and it's high-end estates with a golf course. Before any of that was around, it was just mud and grassy hills, and I would go out there in my carload of friends, and we'd take my little tiny economy car way up in these dirt roads and park and get a view. Well, I had a dog back then. It was a husky, and his name was Kona, and great dog, and his name was Kona because I actually got him in Hawaii. So he would go with me kind of everywhere, and when we get to these places, I'd open the door and he'd take off checking stuff out. Well, that particular night, when we were ready to leave, we'd call him and he came running, and within 20 feet of the car we realized that he had been blasted by a skunk. And we're like, we're like, no, do not jump in the car. But you know how dogs are. So he comes running in and he just jumps right in the car. And all the skunk oil and spray, he's like trying to rub it off on our car because he's like, doesn't like it, obviously. And it became so bad that our eyes were watering and we had to drive. And like, we're like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We couldn't drive. It was so toxic, the smell, because it was so fresh. So we ended up I had a garbage bag in my trunk. We ended up grabbing the dog with that. We ended up putting the dog in our trunk, and no, I didn't shut the trunk on the dog. We put I had a big piece of wood and we gave it like a foot to look out, and we tied the trunk closed so the dog rode in the trunk. And then it was so bad. I remember I rolled my window down. I was sitting on the door and driving like that as long as I could before we got to the city roads. And then I drove home very slowly, and we pulled over like every mile to check on the dog, and the dog was like, you know, miserable because he just got tagged with a skunk. But it was, you know, in hindsight, it's probably a stupid idea to do that to a dog, but we were teenagers and we didn't think it would harm the dog, and it didn't harm the dog. But then I'd take the dog. At the time I was renting a room in an apartment, in a house, excuse me, and I'm like, I gotta get this stuff off him. And I always heard that tomato juice will get rid of skunk smell. So I go to the store, I get tomato juice, I bring the dog into the house, and my roommates were so pissed at me because I'm like, what? I gotta get this stuff off. I was gonna wash him in the bathtub. Again, I'm an 18-year-old kid. They were pissed about that, and they stayed pissed for like a few weeks. And in hindsight, I can't blame them. Eventually, the skunk smell went away. So that's another crazy story I got for you. Here, check this out. This is what I was telling you. This place has a pool, and I think the pool is open during the right season. And there's a map on the wall. Kind of tells you where everything is. Here's Sausalito. This is Mill Valley. This is Strawberry. When I first moved to California, I moved to Strawberry. And then Angel Island, Tiburon. And we are at McNears Beach Park. And Stimson Beach, Mirror Beach. By the way, I have videos of all these beaches. And Tiburon, I went to Angel Island recently. I haven't explored the East Bay that much, and I need to branch out and start checking it out. But it gives you an idea where we are within the Bay Area. Obviously, this is San Francisco and Oakland. So they got a nice pool here. And I noticed that they even have a hot tub. So I'm wondering when it's open. Is it free? Does it cost money to swim? It might be a public pool. So they have nice tables here to sit out on. Have your lunch. Barbecue pit. This is a great park to enjoy a day at. They even have tennis courts. I used to play tennis, and I really miss it. And I was telling my wife that I think I want to start playing tennis again. And I'm noticing no one is here at these tennis courts right now. So that's interesting. Might be able to come here and play some tennis. Look at these little roll around. They must be for a different, oh, you know what's popular now is pickleball. You see the orange on the courts? That's become really popular. but the tennis court is completely empty. It's nice to know. Ooh, look what I just saw, a relic. Look at that. Look at that, folks. It's a payphone. I wonder if it has a dial tone. Nope. So before cell phones, this is how you'd have to call people, and you'd physically punch in the number. Isn't that crazy? And you put coins in there, and it would a lot of times rip you off and not go through. And a lot of times you'd only get a certain amount of time when you're talking on the phone. And then it would go, you have 30 seconds left, and then it would hang up. So sometimes you could call people collect. And calling collect means that the people you are calling would pay for the phone call. And the operator would ask the person on the other end, I have a collect call for you, do you agree to it? And they'd say yes or no. And if they said yes, you could talk longer. But it's interesting they have that payphone here. I thought it might be for emergencies, but it's not working. So that's an epic fail. I'm not going to walk around there, but there's another volleyball court, a nice path here, and the clubhouse. So as you can see, it's not a beautiful beachy sandy kind of a beach. Down there looks like the sand is a little finer, but still a great place to come with your family and check out or play tennis. And there's on that fire hydrant, there's a scuba mask. So it does make me believe that this pool is open during the summertime. And they even got a place to rinse off the sand. If this place is free, I'm a little surprised at the funding, you know, like where are they getting the money to keep it up? Because it's kept up pretty nice. The lawn, that lawn is nicer than my lawn. It's not infested with gophers. My lawn is completely destroyed by gophers, and we kind of gave up on it because the minute you get it looking nice, you wake up the next day and it was like Caddyshack all over again. Well, folks, thanks for coming along with me today, checking out McNears Beach. I highly recommend it on a nice day in the summer, or even a day like it is today. It's a nice place. I can hear like a air raid siren in the background. I wonder what that is. Oil refinery is way in the distance. Hopefully there's not an oil refinery emergency. Anyway, I appreciate you coming along on my journeys throughout the Bay Area, and I will see you on my next video. Peace.